How's it going, everyone? Midnight Snack here, bringing you Pillars of Eternity. It's a new role-playing game from Obsidian, published by Paradox. And past that, the only other thing I know about this game is that it's like the old Baldur's Gate type games, Icewind Dale, the old D&D games, where it says sort of real-time pausable party-based combat, and anything else I don't know about the game. So it's going to be a really blind let's play, and I am a bit rusty on my CRPG skills, so you'll have to forgive me that. But I'm excited to play this. I just pretty much bought it because I liked the art style, and I like the developer and publishers, Obsidian. I've always really enjoyed their games and their writing, and Paradox, in my opinion, has always had really great game support. So I'm excited to play this. Hopefully you guys will be excited to watch it. This series, I'm going to try to do a little bit of light roleplay. I'm not going to be talking in a different voice or anything like that because, quite frankly, I'm not that cool. So hopefully that's okay with you guys, but I am going to make a character and kind of pick choices based on the character that I'm playing, not necessarily what I would pick, sort of like metagame. I'm going to actually just play the character. Not that I could metagame this anyways, because I've never played it before past the little tutorial area. So yeah, what's going to happen is I'm going to click new game, go over a couple of the options when you start a new game, and then we'll hear a little intro to what's going on. We'll make a character. I say quick, but it's not going to be quick, but we'll try to do it quickly. There are a lot of choices when you pick your character as far as your race, class, background, culture, what you're like, just all sorts of stuff. So I'll kind of go through it. I'll kind of read some of the basic information for you guys, but I've already made a character. It took me probably at least an hour to an hour and a half to make a character that I was completely happy with, because I was, you know, making some different types of races and classes and trying them out in the little tutorial area and seeing what I liked. So yeah, I think that's enough talking. I'm going to go ahead and hit new game. We're going to hear a little bit of story, make a character, and then get into the little intro tutorial type area. And yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let's get started. New game. We're going to be playing on the normal difficulty. It says it requires strategy and efficiency, but forgives a few mistakes in combat. Not recommended for newcomers to real-time party-based RPGs. I might as well be a newcomer. It has been a while since I've played one. And we do have an expert mode that disables helper features in the game. We're not going to be turning that on. And there's also an Iron Man mode that will delete your save if you die. I'm very tempted to do this because I kind of like that sort of that feeling in the back of your mind that's like, you know, this could end at any moment if I'm not careful. It kind of makes you play a little more cautiously, and I don't know if that necessarily would be more entertaining for you guys to watch, but you know, if I get quite a few comments suggesting that, you know, maybe I do an Iron Man playthrough, then I will have no problems restarting the game in an Iron Man playthrough. So that's always an option. But for now, we're just going to play on normal mode. So let's go ahead and hear a little bit of a setup as to what our character's doing. And I will be speaking a lot, so apologies if you guys can hear me drinking my tea in the background, but my throat sorely needs it.
Five wagons grope blindly for the path on a starless night, their master glancing ever upward to the skies for assurance that he is on the right course. A dim lantern his only protection against the encroaching darkness. But the skies bring no comfort, shining no light, betraying no hint of what they know. The caravan carries travelers bound for the frontier hamlet of Gilded Vale, you among them, where a local lord has offered land and wealth to settlers from abroad looking for a fresh start. You have taken suddenly ill, sweating and shivering, and one of the other travelers signals for the caravan master to stop on your behalf. He pulls up just in time to avoid plowing into the trunk of a fallen tree that bars the way ahead. You will go no further tonight.
Okay, so it seems like we are with a group of hopeful settlers in a new area called the Gilded Vale. And we have taken ill. Something's wrong, and we're going to see if we can get that sorted. But first, we have to make a character. Your first big decision, male or female. We will be playing a male. The character I'm going to be going for is a paladin type character. So that's where we're headed, to give you an idea of what's going to happen. So let's get some reading done. I'm going to take another sip of tea because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of reading. So apologies for that, but if you don't want necessarily hear me read a lot of stuff, this probably isn't going to be the type of game for you, because CRPGs tend to have quite a good amount of reading involved. Okay. The place of men in society varies from culture to culture. Cultures like Adir and the Deerwood place them at the forefront of military, politics, and heavy labor. Among the tribes of Nasatek, men perform many of the homesteading and organizational duties. In Airglanfath and Examatil, men and women have more fluid social roles. In all societies, there are exceptions to the rule, and men can be found in a wide variety of stations and professions. So, these red texts, we can actually mouse over and get a little bit more information. Deerwood is a colonial nation founded by settlers from the Adir Empire. Following a series of conflicts with Adir, the territory became independent in 2672 AI and is now ruled by a duke who is elected by 7 earls that oversee its earldoms. And we have Airglanfath, a territory comprised of the forest southeast of the Bale River, populated indigenously by a group of loosely affiliated tribes collectively known as Glanfathans, and governed by a council of its 6 most powerful tribes. Airglanfath is home to a large number of ruined Ingwithan sites, which Glanfathans hold sacred. The ruins have been at the center of a number of large-scale conflicts with Deerwooden colonists, whose settlements often encroach on Glanfathan territory, and who frequently seek to plunder the ruins for their relics. So this could be totally off base, but I'm already getting the sort of vibe that Deerwood is sort of like an American style thing where the Adir went to colonize an area, the Deerwood colonists, they weren't happy, and they got their independence. Airglanfathan are almost Native American types, if you will, and again, this could be totally off base. This is just how I'm kind of interpreting it. They're the sort of indigenous people that they've been there, they're more tribal, and the colonists are trying to take advantage of them and kind of raid them and take their riches for themselves. That's kind of how I'm seeing it as. But I am American, so that could be the reason. We do have quite a few different race options. We're actually going to just be playing as a standard human. Humans, commonly called folk, are the most common race in the Deerwood, the Adir Empire, Old Valia, and the Valian Republics. Though not as large as the towering Almawa, humans are known for their strength and willpower. So again, we have Deerwood, that is the same information, a colony that rebelled, and the Valian Republics, a mercantile power and former colony of a larger, more ancient nation, Old Valia. The republics lie to the south of Deerwood in Airglanfath and are ruled by a duke elected by the Consuagli Assegia, forgive me if I'm butchering that pronunciation, a council of 14 dukes, including its 5 most prominent, the Duke's Bells. Alright, so we have a merchant republic, and you can see as humans we're going to get a bonus to our resolve, which affects our drive, determination, fearlessness, and the emotional intensity that they can project to others. It is also for our defenses, so that will be good for a paladin. And we get might, characters' physical and spiritual strength, brute force, as well as their ability to channel powerful magic. During interactions, it can be useful for intimidating displays of axe and brute force. In combat, it contributes to both damage and healing, as well as fortitude defense. So again, very nice for paladin. But I'll click through some of the other races. I'm not going to read all of them because there's quite a bit of background information. But we do have the Almawa, that's how I'm pronouncing it, and they're the largest race in the game, and they're known as kind of the I guess, Viking type, if you will. They're ocean type raiders, or ocean raider types rather. And then we have dwarves. You know, it wouldn't be an RPG without dwarves. We have elves, again, wouldn't be an RPG without elves. And it also wouldn't be an RPG without little tiny people. So we have the Orlans. They're the smallest of the Kith. Kith means civilized races in this game. And we also have the godlike. Originally I was going to do a godlike because I think they're interesting, but I don't think I'm ready for that. But there are quite a few of them, and I will show you guys this in case you want to pick up this game and play as a godlike. So you have the godlike race, and then you have 4 different sub-races of godlike. They each have their own little background lore information, and then they also have their own racial ability. So you can see you have the death godlike, the fire godlike, the moon godlike, and the nature godlike. So they're all quite different, and even this is the only race that you can do this as. Once you pick the sub race, you get to pick a body type, so you can be big or tiny as your godlike, whatever you so desire, which I think is really cool. Originally I was going to play as a Moon Almala paladin, but I think I just want to do a human. You know, I typically don't go for a human race. I typically go for a dwarf race or a very large type strength focus race, but I think I'm just going to go for a vanilla human that for some reason must be in every RPG. And we have a few different subrace options here. I believe, yeah, they all come with the fighting spirit racial. Once per encounter, 5 seconds after being reduced below 50% endurance, folk temporarily gain bonuses to accuracy and damage. Accuracy is, I believe, your chance to hit. Yes. So, yeah, the Meadowfolk. The most common humans in the Dyrwood, the Meadowfolk, or Thurton, have lived in that area for almost 2,000 years. Meadowfolk traditionally live at the edges of elven forests, working the open plains, hence their name. Most humans in the Dyrwood are Thurton. But we also have the Ocean Folk and the Savannah Folk, if you would like to be a different type of human with a different background, and I believe these choices will actually affect how characters respond to us in the game. But we're going to be a Meadowfolk, and you can see we have quite a few different classes. Some of them are kind of interesting, like the Cypher to me. Mind Hunters, they're kind of like sort of mind mages, if you will. Psychic mages, I guess. Cyphers can directly target allies and enemies with powerful soul-focused effects. These powers cost focus, which Cyphers build through their use of their soul whip. So they get, you know, there's some interesting stuff in this. The Druids are also quite interesting. You get to pick an animal to specialize as, and then you also get quite a few spells. And your spells initially start as you can only use them once per rest, but eventually as you level up you'll be able to use them per encounter. But you'll also get your shapeshift that you want to do, your spirit shift, which is kind of nice. So you have quite a few different options when you're picking your characters. But we're going to be a paladin, and I'll read paladins real quick. Not bleakwalkers, just normal paladins. There we go. Paladins are martial zealots devoted to a god, a ruler, or even a way of life. They can be found in any culture where a fanatical group of like-minded individuals have formed a warrior society dedicated to advancing their cause. Among those aligned to their worldview, paladins are viewed with respect and admiration, if a bit of fear. Many paladins hold leadership positions in armies and mercenary companies, but in the heat of battle, their fanaticism often overrules the chain of command and common sense. Starting ability, faith and conviction. Paladins have an inherent bonus to all of their defenses. Over the course of the game, the value of this bonus may shift based on the reputations the paladin gains relative to the behaviors that are preferred by his or her order. So that's something we're going to pick on the next page. You pick an order for your paladin, and then those orders have their own preferred dispositions. So like one of them, the Bleakwalkers, is kind of like an Inquisition type, really cruel, efficient, sort of merciless type. And if you're a Bleakwalker and you try to be benevolent, then you'll actually get a penalty to your defenses later on in the game. And this is how I'm understanding it. And we also get, just from being a paladin, a bonus to athletics Adventuring is tiring work. Traveling, fighting, and scrambling up fallen statues can take its toll. The athletic skill counters the effects of accrued fatigue, allowing characters to go farther and fight longer before they suffer penalties. In conversations and scripted interactions, athletics is used for physical feats like climbing, swimming, and jumping. Excuse me as I sip a little bit of tea again. Quite a bit of reading. And we also get a bonus to lore. It represents a character's accumulated miscellaneous knowledge and trivia, often of occult or esoteric topics. Outside of conversations and scripted interactions, lore is used to activate scrolls. Higher lore values allow the character to use higher level scrolls. And these are our sort of base stats that we get as a paladin. You can see we get high endurance, high health, average accuracy, and very high deflection. So let's check out our endurance. Character's short-term survivability. Damage that is not absorbed by a character's damage reduction goes straight to their endurance and health. Potions and healing magic can restore endurance in combat. When it reaches 0, he or she will be knocked out. A knocked out character can be brought back in combat through the use of a revive ability, otherwise characters will regain all of their endurance at the end of combat, assuming they're on the winning side. And then we have health. It's a long-term damage, only regained through rest and certain talents. Damage that is not absorbed by a character's damage reduction goes straight to their health and endurance. And again, when it reaches 0, instead of being knocked out, you're either maimed or killed, depending on the game settings. A maimed character who is reduced to 0 health will always be killed, regardless of the settings. Unlike endurance, a character's health does not get restored after combat, but characters have much larger health values than endurance values. So, yeah, we're going to have to really pay attention to our health. Accuracy is, again, it's used in the dice rolls whenever you're trying to attack, your chance to hit. And deflection is going to be the defense used to resist direct melee and ranged attacks against the character that are not AoEs. It is defined by the character's class, level, perception, and resolve, but may also be influenced by shields, certain weapons, talents, and other effects or spells or items. So quite a bit of stuff, quite a meaty stat system, and I believe this game does use dice rolls. So if you're a fan of dice rolls, you know you got them. And we have quite a few different paladin orders. The Bleakwalkers I've kind of talked about. They're the sort of cruel and aggressive Inquisition style. Then we have the Darkosi, which are, I believe, more noble type paladins. The Shieldbearers of Saint Elka are, again, kind of in that same sort of nobility, high caste sort of paladins. The Goldpack Knights are actually a mercenary paladin order, and they're, you know, you pay me, I do the job. We're actually going to be from the Kind Wayfarers order. The most widespread paladin order, the Kind Wayfarers are guides and protectors for travelers, often people of limited means traveling in dangerous areas. Kind Wayfarers lack the noble prestige of other paladin orders, but are widely respected by commoners for their generosity and compassion. Kind Wayfarers lack a centralized structure, and many members operate independently in remote areas. Though the order is known for not being wealthy, in recent years they've improved their finances via cartography and working with groups like the Hand Occult to develop travel guides for little-known parts of Aora. Their benevolent and passionate, disfavored dispositions are deceptive and cruel. So if we start being really mean, eventually we're going to get penalties to our defenses. After reading these, I'm kind of rethinking my character slightly. I'm thinking about maybe doing the Gold-Packed Knight order. That kind of interests me. I think I might actually switch to the Gold-Packed Knight. I'll read it for you guys real quick. The Gold-Packed Knights are an order of mercenary paladins who sell themselves for all sorts of defensive and offensive engagements. They emerged on the Pearl Coast a few hundred years ago and managed to survive the destruction of the dwarven nation that created them. Gold-Packed Knights are not especially brutal and are willing to shift direction based on the desires of their employers. As their name suggests, the Gold-Packed Knights believe payment forms a binding contract. They are known for being non-judgmental, professional, and impressively mirthless. And our favorite dispositions are stoic and rational. And it doesn't actually change these other bonuses we get. But I'm thinking about, you know, let's play a Gold-Packed Knight. Let's be kind of, I guess cold would be a good description. Very rational, like this disposition says. Let's do it. We're still going to try to be nice You can see disfavored are passionate and aggressive. We're still going to try to be nice and help people out, but we're not going to go out of our way if it doesn't benefit us, I guess. So next we get an ability. Paladin abilities cover 3 major categories: close passive and modal support abilities, single target support abilities, and a small number of targeted offensive abilities. So passive, it's just you activate it and it's passively there. Modal are the toggle type modes that you get, so like an aura or something like that. And we have 2 starting abilities we can pick from. Flames of Devotion calls upon the Paladin's inner fire, causing their equipped weapons to burst into flame, adding 100% burn damage for their next attacks, and we can use that twice per encounter. And we also have Lay on Hands. It is a heal, a touch heal, recovering a substantial amount of endurance for the Paladin or an ally within range. We can use that once per encounter. Now, I'm going to be leaning more towards an offensive type Paladin, but I will have some support and heals and stuff just for the party. And we are a Paladin. When I think of a Paladin, I think of sort of a holy knight. So there is that, but we're gonna go with Flames of Devotion, a more offensive based choice for the beginning. And our stats, so we have Might, which is our bonus to damage and healing, as well as our fortitude defense, and it's also for intimidating during conversations and interactions. Constitution is our health, endurance, and it also affects our fortitude defense. Dexterity is the grace of your character, sleight of hand, fast reactions, your action speed, with all of your attack spells and abilities, and also your reflex defense. And the stars indicate what's useful. So like perception, here's a gold star. You can see it says highly recommended for the Paladin. And perception is going to be for spotting traps and being observant. And it also buffs our defenses and grants a bonus to interrupt, which that is a big text box. Interrupt determines how likely an attack is to delay their opponent's current or next action and is rolled versus another character's concentration. A 1 to 100 roll is made, adding the interrupt and subtracting the concentration. If the result is 51 or higher, the target plays a hit reaction and their current action is delayed. The rolls are already coming in. Bring out those d20s, boys. Bring them out. We have Intellect, which is going to be for our will defense and our duration of spells and the AoE bonuses. And Resolve is going to be our character's internal drive, determination, fearlessness, and emotional intensity they can project to others. It's going to be for intimidation, leadership, and convincing performances, and it buffs our concentration, which we already know will help prevent us from getting interrupted, and it gives us more bonus to our defense. So I'm going to be going for a high resolve, high perception, high might type build, a little bit of intellect, and I think what I'm going to do is actually take down a couple points in dexterity and go for some constitution, because we're going to be using a two-handed weapon. I'll have a sword and board for the backup, but I mostly want this to be a two-handed type character. And you got to have a little bit of finesse with the two-handed weapon, but it's also more about that sheer force. So I don't think we need the dexterity as much, and this could be a terrible decision, but it's how I want this character. Alright, so next we have culture. So these will give you another little stat bonus, and it's also the background for your character. So you can see we can pick something like Aedir. The Aedir Empire is currently the largest and most powerful force in this part of the world. It is centered around the equator and has a tropical climate. Though the Empire has colonies in numerous areas of the world, Greater Aedir is at its heart and houses the majority of its humans and elven nations. So there are quite a few, and as you can see, as I'm picking a different one, it does change my character's starting equipment. And I wanted to start with a two-handed sword, and this kind of fits the actual background of the character that I'm going for. I'm going for not a highborn paladin, just sort of a middle caste type human, and we just try to be kind of helpful, but we're also trying to look out for ourselves, because we are part of the Gold Pact Knights, So, we're mercenaries, but we're not like super cold, super ruthless. We just don't necessarily go out of our way to help people. And the White That Wins is a group of explorers and outcasts and adventurers. So I think we kind of fit into that. We explore through our mercenary contracts and do the adventuring and stuff, and we can help out some of the outcasts. So the White That Wins, a large cracked southern expanse of polar ice, the White That Wins is home to pale elves and small colonies of daring explorers, outcasts, and adventurers. While virtually no plant life grows in the White, it is home to many hardy species of dangerous animals that forage from the sea or prey upon each other to survive, and we get a bonus to our perception, which is a character's senses, as well as their instinctive ability to pick up on details and interactions that can be used to catch someone in a lie. So you see, we're already buffing our perception quite a bit. Growing up in this sort of harsh environment, we needed to be able to figure out when someone's lying to us, and we need to be able to make sure that we can spot traps, stuff like that. So I think the White That Wins is actually a good fit, as well as it gives me the two-handed sword that I want. But I think from a role-playing perspective, it also fits in with our character, because the harsh environment, we're trying to survive, and people join up and do some stuff that they're not necessarily proud of to survive, and we join the Gold Pact Knights. They're mercenary paladins. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the character so far. How he's starting, we don't know how he's going to evolve, but now we can pick our background for our character, and I'm gonna pick Explorer for him. You find the siren call of the horizon irresistible. You cannot help but wonder what lies beyond the next hill or wave, and you've built your life around finding it. So we've had that sort of harsh background in the sort of frozen wasteland for the White That Wins. It was frozen, right? Polar ice, yeah. Just want to make sure that I'm not misreading that. So we wanted to kind of get out and explore, and that's where part of joining the Gold Pact Knights came from. Mercenary paladins, and that gives us the opportunity to go out and explore, which is something that we've been longing to do since we were little, because of the environment that we grew up in. We didn't necessarily, I guess, agree with it. So we're going to be an explorer. And for our colors, this I don't think matters too much. I'm going to be going with just some basic colors here. Let's go with something like that, I suppose. Maybe a dark green, dark blue. I don't think this matters too much, so why am I taking so much time on it? Skin color's fine, hair color is fine, and we need a beard. And the hair I wanted, I believe, was 10, and the head was 3. So that's going to be our character. And we do have pre-made portraits in the game. I believe there's a way to add custom portraits into the game. I'm not sure how to do it. But this guy looks close enough to our character. Our beard's a little more impressive than his. But it's good enough. I like it. It looks like simple clothing on, a simple cloak. And there's also a way to edit the sound files, so you can add in your own sound files for voices. I remember reading on PC Gamer someone mentioning that they heard of someone adding a sound file to the game for the voices because they didn't like the Americanized voices.
Follow me.
So
Let's keep quiet.
If you don't like these Americanized voices, then you can certainly look up how to add your own.
Leading the way. Take him down.
We're gonna go with this stoic voice. I think that's gonna be a nice fit, and our character's name is going to be Verithax. So that was long. That was a long character introduction, or character creation even. Making this character, I believe I said earlier, took me around an hour to an hour and a half to sort of read through stuff and figure things out. So yeah, this is quite a quicker version, quite a bit quicker than what I had to do. So let's recap real quick. We're going to be a human meadow folk. We are known as the Thurton, and we're, I believe it said, the most common type of human. We are a paladin for the Gold Pact Knights. They're a mercenary paladin order, And we have the Flame of Devotion skill, which buffs our weapon with fire for our next attacks. Faith and Conviction is a passive that will give us a bonus to defenses based on how well our alignment is with our order, our disposition, whether or not they agree with it. And we are from the White That Wins, and we're an explorer, the White That Wins being the sort of polar, frozen sort of wastelands, outcasts, explorers, adventurers, pale elves, nasty beasties, and that's us. So we're trying to get out there and trying to start a fresh new life in the Gilded Vale, which is where we are now. That brings us back, the caravan taking us to the Gilded Vale with other people that are hopeful founders of a new settlement, if you will. And we're a little ill, so let's go ahead and get in. Yeah. New quest, the Gilded Vale. Journey to Gilded Vale. Excuse me as I sip a little bit more tea. And now, as you guys can tell, it's kind of a long video. It's half an hour so far. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier. These episodes are going to be between 45 minutes long and an hour long. And the reason for that is I want you guys to be able to kind of get into it, relax, pop this on, grab a beverage, and just sort of enjoy an old school role-playing experience. So that's why I'm going to leave these episodes quite a bit longer than my typical episode. I try to keep around 20-ish minutes. So yeah, hopefully that's okay with you guys. It's okay with me having a longer episode, but if I start getting enough comments from you guys saying, hey, maybe chop it down to about half an hour, that way I don't have to try to remember where I am or let YouTube remember where I am, which YouTube does usually do a good job of remembering where you are. But like I said, if I get enough comments, I can definitely chop it down some. So let's go ahead and get in. We've sort of parked our caravan for the night. We've set up camp because we need to take care of our illness, and that's where we are. So Caravan Master Odema. The Caravan Master finishes addressing the group, his bushy red mustache and sagging jowls quivering as if for emphasis.
Everybody stays close to the wagons, got it? Stay out of the woods, and beasts take you if you are planning a stroll through those ruins up there.
He nods towards a looming black mass on the hillside.
Whole area's crawling with hut-dwelling types who would be happy to stick an axe in you for trespassing. So mind that you don't track mud on their sacred blazing rocks. Tonight, everybody stays put, and in the morning we'll get the path cleared. Gilded Vale's less than a day out. Understood?
At last, the Caravan Master turns to you, frowning as he looks you over.
Touch of the rumbling rot, could be. There's a stinging beetle round here, carries it. You'll be fine once it passes your innards. Unless you don't drink water, course. Which case you'll be dead in a day. There's a berry grows in these parts, small and pink, called a springberry. About the size of a fingernail. Give you cramps if you eat it, but the frontiersmen make a tea from it. Calms the insides. Should get you through the night. You might check around, see if you can find some. Meanwhile, I'll see if we can scare you up some water. I know you want to hunt before it gets much darker, but see about refilling our water first. Got a sick one here.
Odema looks over his shoulder at his assistant, a lanky, intense man named Sparfle, who carries an old, sun-bleached bow. Sparfle nods and slides the worn bow over his shoulder. So, we're sick. We think we may have some sort of rot from a beetle bite, and we need to go get some springberries and make a tea. So we need the berries, we need some water, but we've also learned that there could be some dangers in the woods around us in the form of a barbarian type tribal sort of settlement or people, if you will. So my character's sick right now, and just from a roleplay perspective, I said I'm going to be doing a little bit of light roleplaying. I'm going to be picking stuff based on what I think he would want to know or what he would want to do in the moment, because he's going to be sort of that very logical type person. And right now, You know, he wants to know, well, where do I get the berries?
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
Alright, but what about the danger?
Not if you hurry about your business.
Okay, so if we're quick, we should be okay.
And not if the weather holds up.
There is concern in his tone, but he does not elaborate. Now we have some little tutorial tip pop-ups that I'll be going over. Your character's attributes, skills, class, race, culture, and sex may all open up options for you in dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to other responses, but give you a wider variety of choices to select from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Okay. I don't really care about the weather, to be honest with you. I want to go get some berries because, you know, I'm feeling a little sick. So let's go get some berries.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
I completely understand. He scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who has spent the journey's nights sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow.
Kalisha. Kalisha!
The woman looks up on her own time.
He needs to find some spring berries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Alright.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything.
Odema chuckles and shakes his head. He looks at you. He casts a long-side glance at her. Yeah.
Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a Bewick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
Alright, so apparently there's a nasty beastie out there called a Bewick. So let's go ahead and get some berries.
You heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
Welcome to Pillars of Eternity. If this is your first visit to the world of Aora, you may want to watch these windows to become familiar with the tools and interfaces available to you. Your party always consists of your character and up to 5 additional companions or adventurers. While the caravan is camped outside the Glanfathan ruins, Odema has assigned Kalisha to help you. Kalisha is a fighter, a class that excels at close quarters defense. Use her abilities to complement your own. To select a party member, click on their selection circle, their portrait, or press the number button that corresponds to their position in the party, starting with 1 at the left. To select multiple party members, click and hold anywhere on the screen and drag the marquee over the circles of the party members you'd like to include.
Yeah.
To move selected characters, click anywhere on the screen where your cursor is. A circle of 4 wedges.
Right.
All selected characters will path to their corresponding positions in the formation. If you see a red circle with a slash through it, you cannot walk on that part of the map. Can't walk on the fire. When multiple party members are selected, the action bar is hidden. To see individual characters' options, select only that character. Alright, so let's go do a bit of exploring.
Anyone need supplies? I've got sundries for sale.
Most people you encounter in the world are neutral or friendly. You can interact with them by clicking on their selection circle. Many characters will simply greet you and go on their way, but others will have larger conversation to explore. The merchant, Hayden, has a conversation that opens up a store with equipment for sale. Alright, well, let's go have a chat. Kind of wanted to talk with him, but alright. Hayden, you see a man wearing simple but mostly neat clothes. He's transfixed, however, by the ragged tear in the seam of his tunic.
Brought a whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road.
He shakes his head and laughs when he notices you. He scratches one cheek with his knuckles. It's covered with uneven stubble, as if he hasn't quite gotten used to shaving on the road.
Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like to take a look.
Yeah, let's see what you have. Okay. Stores allow you to trade and sell your items for copper pieces or items in the store's inventory. Merchants buy items from you at a greatly reduced price. If you sell something, you may see it appear in the store's inventory with a much higher cost. Stores periodically refresh their inventories. So we have 100 copper pieces, and let's see, this is our party, and we have a stash as well. But we don't have anything, and I don't think we're going to buy anything. we don't really need anything that I'm aware of. Can we see what's actually equipped? Does that keep the store menu? No, that closes the store menu. Let's check out our equipment real quick before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Verithax, we're first level paladin in the Gold Pact Knight Order. And you can see all of our bonuses that we have. And this actually gives us quite a nice overview of our character. We have 45 endurance, 223 health. We do 17 to 24 damage. Can I see what kind of equipment you have? Alright, inventory. So it looks like we have a two-handed sword. It's slow. It's got strong interrupt and good damage. Slash and pierce damage. What does Kalisha have? Looks like she's using a one-handed axe and a torch, which is kind of interesting. Can we see anything about her? No, we can't really find anything out about her. She's pretty strong, pretty high might. First level fighter. Let's go ahead and have a look around. Exploration is key in Pillars of Eternity. As you make your way through the Eastern Reach, open the area map to see what parts of the map you've already been to and what's left to explore. So, do we have a map down here? There's the map. So we have a pretty good size map to have a peek around in. Let's keep moving. This is Sparfle, the hunter.
I'll have your water soon enough. Stream's not going anywhere.
Fair enough, but you know I am sick, and if I die, I'm gonna haunt you.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
Alright. Alright, so we already see a wolf, young wolf. Just killed a beastie, trying to get some dinner. Pillars of Eternity combat uses a pausable real-time system. Because you will often manage more than one character at a time, it's a good idea to pause the game, issue orders, and resume real-time to see the orders play out. The options menu also contains many choices for automatic pausing when certain conditions are met. Example, at the start of combat. Alright, so the game is paused, and you can see on the bottom right we do have this large window. This will actually show our rolls during combat if that's something you're interested in just kind of peeking at. But let's go ahead and get started. Let's pick Kalisha. She's the frontline fighter type person. Let's have her set up to do a knockdown on this wolf. And let's select ourselves, and we'll actually just come over here, try to get around behind, take advantage of the fact that she's a fighter, and see if we can do a flank. Spacebar is pausing, and we also have a half speed and a double speed, so I'll pop on half speed real quick. So you can see they're actually running around quite slowly. And you can also do a double speed if you're exploring and running somewhere out in the world. Let's read this little tip. All characters in the game, friend and foe, have 4 primary defenses against attacks: deflection, fortitude, reflex, and will. These defenses are based on the character's attributes, level, items, and other effects. Accuracy is compared to the appropriate defenses when an attack is made. If accuracy is below the targeted defense, the attack suffers a penalty to the roll and is more likely to result in a miss. If accuracy is above the targeted defense, the attack is more likely to result in a crit. All attacks that do damage to overcome the target's damage reduction. All attacks that do damage have to overcome the target's damage reduction. An enemy's DR reduces the incoming damage by the listed amount down to a minimum percentage. If you are having difficulty hurting an enemy, try switching to a weapon or attack that does a different damage type. Most enemies are strong against 1 or 2 damage types and weak against a similar number. Alright, so what we're going to do is pretty much just come around and get a flank on, and we can use our Flames of Devotion. Ignite our weapon with fire. And again, let's get over there and give him a good whacking. And he went down really quick after that. Alright, combat is over. Let's get a little bit of loot. We got a wolf hide. The wolves of Deerwood are a large and crafty breed, bereft of the species' usual shyness, and they present a serious hazard to travelers who venture off the beaten path. Hunters who seek them out will not usually contend with a single wolf, for they travel in packs of varying size, presenting a challenge to any lone hunter. Their furry hides are valued for the warmth they can provide, and the teeth of the strongest wolves make for impressive trophies. Let's go ahead and grab that.
Sure.
And it looks like we have found our
This is it.
spring berries. As you receive quests, your journal will update with relevant information. If you ever get stuck, open it up and review your notes. Alright, so it looks like we're going to have a little bit of chat with Kalisha. Odima says you've had some interesting travels. Interesting might not be the word. I sailed with cold-blooded conquerors. We were mercenaries, so, you know, I'm sure we had some cold-blooded people with us. Yeah, how is it you happened to come here? You know, I like this choice. You conquer enough places, and it isn't long before it's your homeland they go after. No offense, but you probably had that coming. They say the gods see that each man gets his due. Don't know if I believe that, but they do seem to have gotten the better of you. Kalisha breathes in her surroundings. Been a long time since I've been this way, but I always did like it. Lord Radrick's offer makes a girl think. I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of the lot? Actually, yeah, you know. We've been conquering, and I kind of want a new life. So it's a hard offer to pass up. You won't find many offers like it in these parts, believe me. Got some big plans in store? Actually, yeah, I'm gonna settle here and start a new life. Well, who knows? Radrick pays well enough. Maybe we end up neighbors. You know, maybe. Anyway, I'm wasting time here. Odema will give me an earful. Let's be on our way. Well, you know, I kind of just told you a little bit about me, so tell me about yourself. I've got simple needs. I like open skies and far horizons. I find work that lets me live that way. My family wanders too. We started in Deerwood, but my parents ended up in the Living Lands. I've got a brother in Rautai and another in Adir. My sister in Gilded Vale. She's the only real homebody. Okay, well, why are you here then? Kalisha sighs unevenly. Her eyes search the ground at her feet. My sister moved out here some time back. She sent me a letter. She seemed worried, but that's how she always is. This time, though, she asked me to come out, and that's got me a little worried. I haven't seen her in ages, been doing guide work in Examitil, but I'd do anything for her. She's a much better woman than me, so I'm here and we'll see. Odima I've worked with before. He usually doesn't drive a route this way, but he's doing it for me. Alright, well, tell me about this area a little bit. What kind of things can we run into? I'm not too much for history, but from what I know, it used to be part of the Adir Empire. Broke off after a war some years back. The locals here are feisty, and that's how they like it. I've been out of touch, but I've been hearing weird kinds of things about it lately. People having trouble giving birth, I guess. A lot of them. Been going on for years now, but somehow it's getting worse. With an uneasy tremor in her voice, she adds, I'll have to ask my sister more about it. So, you know, maybe that's affecting her sister, something in the area. Alright, let's go ahead and get back to camp. You know, I wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfle's getting you water anytime soon. He does what he feels like when he feels like it. We should check up on him first, slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Come on, let's get you your water. You know, I wouldn't mind slapping Sparfle around a little bit. If he didn't get me my water, I did tell him that I would haunt him if I died. Let's do a little bit more exploring though. Can we go up any further this way? This path winds through a narrow canyon back the way you came.
We shouldn't stray too far.
Okay, everyone calm down. You know, I was reading that. We've got some Admith's worth added to our stash. I'm guessing that's just ingredients. Can I find it? There we go. This distinctive herb is a common sight in open fields and meadows, bearing small arrow-shaped leaves which encircle red flowers. It earned its name for the association with the final resting place of Admeth Herit, though the particulars of the story change with each retelling. Alright, let's go ahead and get down this way. We know the river's down this way, so let's go see what we can find. Get into a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Found some burned lady.
Right.
And I think we'll have a look at most of this stuff a little bit later on. Kind of want to get some water. I am dying after all. Alright, so is Sparful anywhere over here? No, I guess he went ahead, crossed the river. Let's go make sure he's okay. I know that the caravan master mentioned that he wanted to go hunting.
What a surprise. Sparful went hunting. At least he left the water skins. Come on.
Use the tab key to highlight interactive objects in the environment. You crouch at the riverbank and dip your water skin into the cool water while Kalisha waits nearby, keeping watch. As you rise, you notice her look up sharply towards the tree line. Out of the trees emerges Sparful, one of the guides, barely discernible in the dim moonlight. He no longer carries his bow, and there's a strangeness in his gait, a spastic wobble in his ordinarily deft stride as he moves towards you with labored breath.
Sparful? Are you alright?
Sparful's toe catches on a rock, and he collapses forward in a heap, the feathered shaft of an arrow planted between his shoulders like an enemy flag.
Ambush!
Alright, so this looks like the sort of barbarian tribal people that live in this area. I'm going to have Kalisha go knock down this Glanfathan hunter up here, and we're going to take ourselves and we are going to go take out this Glanfathan hunter down here. Let's go ahead and get on that. Alright, sometimes a weapon or spell simply isn't well suited to penetrating an enemy's damage reduction. When the attack hits, the damage reduction will wipe out all but a small percentage of the incoming damage. You'll hear your characters complain about it when it happens. Take heed, note the damage type that's being blocked, and switch to a weapon or spell that does a different damage type. Alright, how's she doing? Let's go ahead and ignite our weapons. Seems like it's doing a good bit of damage, and she's doing okay. Took her out.
Take him down.
Alright, not too bad.
Come on, we have to get back to camp.
Let's go ahead and get some loot. Looks like we have a hunting bow and a hide armor. We're using a padded armor, so that's actually better for us. Our recovery speed gets a penalty though. Recovery is the amount of time that a character spends between actions. Longer actions result in proportionally longer recovery. Armor also has a large effect on recovery. Generally, heavier armor inflicts longer recovery penalties. Okay, well let's compare it to what we have. This actually gives us more defenses, so I think we'll actually keep it on instead of taking this hide armor. It gives us more types of defenses. So let's grab that. Let's grab the copper alds. And, you know, can't do anything for Sparful, which is unfortunate. The footprints around the campfire are indistinct and may have been here for days or longer. Let's have a look around, see if there are maybe any more to fight. Maybe there's any sort of treasure about that they sort of left lying around. Doesn't really look like it. Can we go down here? Looks like there are some mushrooms down here. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab some mushrooms. Get some deer cap.
Sure.
And we will read about those in a bit. Alright, well we've explored a bit down here, and you know, if these guys are out here, then there's probably a good chance that they're up here at the caravan. So we should probably head back up to the caravan to make sure everyone's doing okay. So let's go ahead and get up there. Alright, and we do have more enemy contact up here. This guy looks big. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take her, have her knock down the Glanfathan hunter, have him go pop his fiery sword on that one. Let's go ahead and do it. And it looks like we do have a third one. Okay, you're not supposed to be doing that. Come over here. Alright, we are getting attacked in the back.
Let's go.
That one's done. And let's have her, let's pause real quick, knock him back down, And I'm going to be fumbling the clicks a little bit because it seems a little touchy. One of your characters has become fatigued. Fatigue represents the physical and psychological wear and tear of demanding activity on a character. It builds up over time as characters travel, explore, and especially when they engage in combat. Some scripted interactions will also result in fatigue if they are especially grueling. The athletic skill automatically slows the onset of fatigue from any source. Fatigue goes through multiple stages, initially inflicting minor penalties but growing in severity over time. Resting is the easiest way to remove the effects of fatigue, though some consumables can also lower a character's fatigue total. So maybe that red bar is our endurance being taken down. But yeah, the clicks they're really precise, so I'm probably going to fumble the combat a little bit in the beginning. Let's finish this guy off real quick. I wanted you to knock him down, but I guess we did that already.
Let's
Alright, let's double team this guy again down real quick.
take him down.
Take this one down. Alright. Let's see what we get for any sort of loot. We have quite a bit of stuff. We have a couple hatchets, we have a couple medium shields, some more hide armor, and some copper pieces. Let's go ahead and just have him grab everything. Looks like we get another hunting bow. And let's kind of look through this stuff real quick. Do we want to equip any of it? Where's our inventory? I think we will probably put on... What does this say? Properties interfering. Interfering plus 5. Can you tell me what interfering is? No? Okay. Maybe we'll pop this on. Just to have some better defense in case we get flanked like that again. We can throw up our shield, try to move around a little smarter. You can switch to a new weapon set by selecting the weapon icon from the individual character's action bar. So if I select him, I can switch over to that weapon set. Alright, very good. And our endurance has refilled as well. But you can see our HP, our health is going down. We're at 200 out of 223. Glenfathan Leader. All around you lie the massacred remains of the other travelers, peppered with arrows and knife hilts, splayed and bug-eyed and filthy on the blood-damp earth. Kalisha puts the back of her left hand to her mouth, as if to ward away the horror like a poisonous vapor. A handful of dark figures stands above the fallen, treading on limbs and backs and heads, jerking their axes from bodies as if from half-split logs as they prepare to add you to the sprawling pile beneath them. One of them, towering and severe, with a thick beard tasseled with knots, holds a wet blade at the neck of the man you recognize as Hayden, the last of your caravan left standing. That was the merchant from earlier. Glenfathan Leader. Lay down your arms, trespasser. Do not forfeit this man's life for a fight you will lose. I think we're going to go with murderers. You will pay for each life. You now have one rank in the disposition reputation. These reputations represent how people perceive your personality throughout the world. Even seemingly nasty reputations will be favored by some people, and benign reputations often bring out the worst in certain people. No disposition is inherently good or bad in Pillars of Eternity, but if your main character is a priest or paladin, you must be careful not to misalign your dispositions with what is favored by their deity and order, respectively. For the main character only, their dispositions will modify the effects of Holy Radiance for priests and Faith and Conviction for paladins. Glenfathan Leader. Death willed by the gods is not murder but righteousness. You have trespassed in places of which no mortal man is worthy. The debt is not ours to pay, but yours. So I say again, lay down your arms. Alright, so we have quite a few choices. We have some stat-based choices. Might, only fools attack a weak enemy when a stronger one lives. Perception, your courage is a mask. None of you has yet slain a true warrior. Resolve, go ahead, kill him now. Athletics, rush the man before he can react. We might do that. Just go ahead and get right into combat. Lore, judging by the string of animal teeth around your neck, I'm guessing you are worshippers of Galawain. If Galawain told you to stop protecting the ruins, would you? Put down your weapons, stay armed. I think we're going to go with rush the man before he can react. Athletics 2. Your surprising speed catches the man off guard. He hurls Hayden out of the way in hopes of buying himself time to defend your charge. Alright, so Hayden is okay. Let's see what he can do. He's got some daggers and blinding strike. Dirty attack that makes the opponent unable to see, inflicts large amounts of inflicts extra damage and blinds the target. Don't know where I got the large amounts from. Let's have Hayden blind the Glanfathan leader. Let's have Kalisha knock down this Glanfathan hunter. And we're all going to go attack him. So, trying to do a little bit of crowd control and take down targets. Trying to play a little bit smarter. Okay, it looks like they kind of split up. Oops. Missing my clicks a little bit. Let's pause.
What you need?
Let's have her knock down this guy that's attacking Hayden, and let's have him come around back here and get some flanks on this guy.
What you need?
Alright, and let's just tag team him. Alright, that didn't go too badly. Glanfathan leader, your enemy lies supine on the ground, unable to rise. His companions now silent among the other dead. His breath comes in wheezing, fitful gasps. He looks not at you, but at the sky above you. Forgive us. Barely audible beneath his choked sighs, a whisper of wind stirs the air. At this, the man's eyes roll back as he closes them. Good, good. The gods are just. A queer smile crosses his face. I am ready. The wind begins to swell, whipping around the camp, electric and volatile, upending pots and rattling tents like an angry spirit. You can feel it begin to seep beneath your skin like a jetty beginning to succumb to the surge of a great wave. And where it pierces you, it feels as though it is rending you apart from within. Seated against a wagon wheel amidst the howling maelstrom, slashed across chest and bowel, Odema's body stirs, and with great effort he raises his sagging head, eyes barely open. He looks directly at you.
Get inside! Run!
Straining against a gale that threatens to pull you off of your feet with every step, you set your hands in the worn folds of weathered rock and set about pulling yourself up the precipice. With a last burst of energy before your arms give out, you swing yourself up onto the ledge. Hayden trails behind, slowed by injury and delayed by early hesitation. As he nears the face of the rocks, one of the fallen attackers, who had been feigning death, lunges for Hayden and topples him onto the rocky ground. Restrained, Hayden lashes out against his fatigued assailant but struggles to break his hold. They are close to you, despite the wind. From your position, if you were to throw your weapon at the attacker, you would have a good chance at hitting your mark. We don't actually meet the stat requirement for one of these. But would we actually try to save him? I think ordinarily I would say no. But I think in this situation, we could use another able body, so we will try to save him. Throw your weapon at the attacker. Your aim is true, and the hit jars Hayden loose. Lurching to his feet, Hayden clambers up the base of the rocks. As he nears the top, however, the wind flares, pulling him sideways and tearing one of his hands free. But diving out onto the hard rock, you manage to catch hold of it, securing his other hand, and you pull with waning strength, and it feels as though your arms will be jerked from their sockets. They hold just long enough for Hayden to set his feet and join you on the trembling ledge. There is a deep resonance to the swelling wind now. You feel it in the rocks beneath your feet and inside the cavity of your own chest, as though it would shake the marrow from your bones. Each new gust menaces the old stones before you, loosening connections, unsettling balances. As you dart beneath the old archway, the entire portal begins to fall beneath its own weight.
Was that?
A Bewick. Had to be.
Then we're lucky to be alive.
And we're the only ones.
We can't stay here. There could be another collapse. We're not getting out that way anyway. Let's get further inside.
Alright, so we escaped the Glanfathan tribal people and made it into some ruins. Apparently there was a Biowick attack, so we have to be on the lookout for a very large beastie trying to hurt us. And we're going to have to make our way through this cave ruin type structure. But that is going to have to wait for episode 2. So I hope you guys don't mind the long episodes. I do want to keep these episodes a little bit on the longer side, so like I said, you can enjoy them kind of like a little series, if you will, like a little TV series. Grab a beverage, sit back, relax, enjoy some Pillars of Eternity. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm excited to keep playing this game, so hopefully you guys are excited to keep watching this game. And if you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and hitting that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. And as always, thanks for watching and have a good one.